Hello folks, how you guys doing? My name is Mark, this is Why I Hate the World. Got a lot to get through today, so we're going to jump right into it. We are going to be talking about this story that just dropped the other day about this hairstylist in Michigan. If you guys have heard about this, a Michigan hair salon called Studio 8 Hair Lab in Traverse City, run by a woman named Christine Geiger. Have you guys heard about this person? Well, let's read this article here from News Nation. Let's turn this on. Michigan hair salon refuses to serve some LGBTQ plus customers. Studio 8 Hair Lab implied transgender people should seek a pet groomer. What is this all about? Basically, long story short, the Supreme Court having decided that it's okay to discriminate against people because of your religion, if you happen to disagree with someone's lifestyle, something like that, has opened up the floodgates, and now all of the crazy bigots out there are coming out of the woodwork, encouraged by this official recognition by the highest court in the land, and are now mask-off bigots, especially when it comes to gay and trans people, in particular trans people. We're not going to read this entire thing, but long story short, this woman, Christine Geiger, 48 years old, put up a Facebook post on her business page. If a human identifies as anything other than a man-woman, please seek services at a local pet groomer. Let's see if the Facebook post is still up. Let's see, is it there? Or did she take it down? She might have took it down. Nope, this is it. So these are the actual images put up by this hair salon owner. You are not welcome at the salon, period. Should you request to have a particular pronoun used, please note we may simply refer to you as hey you, regardless of Michigan House Bill 4474. That is a bill that passed in Michigan basically saying that is illegal for you to discriminate in this matter against trans people. So I'm assuming that there's some conflict here with the Supreme Court ruling. This is America, free speech. The small business has the right to refuse services. We are not bound by any oaths as realtors are regarding discrimination. My recent airport experience validates this. Not sure what that recent airport experience is, but I'm assuming that she was probably a raging homophobe, transphobe, or racist to somebody, and they probably kicked her out of the airport. If I had to guess, that would be my guess. So that's kind of ridiculous and disturbing. I don't see how this can still be legal, though, because the Supreme Court ruling was a very, very narrow definition. Gives a very, very narrow window for who can and cannot discriminate, but let's continue on. There's some more here. This is America Free Speech. It's Studio 8 Hair Lab. Let's see what else we got. This is some other people who have been review bombing her here. And this is her response. So this person's sitting here going, do everyone a favor, separate your personal politics, blah, blah, blah. Down here we have Christine's response. Another individual has never had service done by this establishment. The review was left in response to a Facebook post where I stated this salon is not LGBTQ plus friendly. LGB are more than welcome. However, the rest of it is not something I support. So she's totally cool if you're lesbian, gay, or bi, but it's the rest of the stuff that she doesn't like. It's kind of like saying, yeah, I'm not racist, except I don't like, Irish people. Right? Or like, I don't like people from, this particular country or this particular race. But everybody, all the other races, I'm cool. I just don't like those guys. It's like, no, that means that you're still a racist. Like, this still means you're a homophobe. You're still a transphobe. If you don't like one, then you can't just pick and choose like that. You know what I'm saying? This stance was taken to ensure that clients have the best experience, and I am admitting that since I am not willing to play the pronoun game or cater to requests outside of what I perceive as normal, this probably isn't the best option for that type of client. There are over 800 licensed stylists in the county. There are plenty of salon stylists willing to cater to what I will not. This is a free country, and I am not a slave to any narrative. Now, she does have one point here. It is a free country. You are allowed to say whatever you want, and this woman is actually allowed to say these things. But the alternative, in addition to that, everybody else is allowed to review bomb the shit out of her. Everybody else is allowed to say what they think, what they feel, in response to this woman's bigotry. You have protection of free speech from the government. You do not have it from anybody else. Free speech does not mean consequence-free speech. It means the police are not allowed to throw you in jail. The government is not allowed to censor you. The government is not allowed to take any steps to prevent you from saying anything. The government and the government only. That is what free speech means. Everybody else has their own free speech, which means they get to say whatever the fuck they want about you, and that includes private businesses. That means your job can fire you. That includes, that means your other businesses can choose to not do business with you. That means your customers are allowed to say shit to you, anything they want. That means people who are not your customers are allowed to say things to you, right? You don't just get to say shit and then tell everybody else that they're not allowed to react to what you say. That's not the case. That's not how it works. It's not consequence free. People don't understand that. So that's why it kind of backfired on this woman a little bit. I think there's anything else in this article we need to read. It kind of goes over the Supreme Court ruling a little bit. Blah, 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 blah. I think we already kind of followed all that. So what exactly was the Supreme Court ruling? Well, we went over this before in our prior video, but a very quick, short, and dirty version. It was Creative LLC versus Elenus. That was the decision that said creative businesses are allowed now to discriminate. If you want more information, I made a video about this roughly a week ago. Long story short, the Alliance Defending Freedom Foundation came up with a phony baloney case that should have been thrown out because there was no standing, because courts usually don't take hypothetical cases. They usually wait until something actually happens, but in this case, they decided to take it on a hypothetical. What does that mean? That means that the defendants in this, well, not the defendants, but the complaint, the people filing the court case, the Alliance Defending Freedom Foundation basically made up a case. There was a lady in Colorado that said, I want to start a business creating websites, but there's a Colorado law that says that I'm not allowed to discriminate against gay people or LGBTQ people, but I don't want to serve them. And then the court said, well, come back. Right, so she files this lawsuit. And then the court said, well, come back when somebody actually asks you to make a website. Then the next day, she said, hey, this guy decided that, asked me to make a gay wedding website. And then it turns out that the person that she listed as the client of hers who asked her to make the website didn't actually do it. The person really exists. He's a real person. He has a name and an address and all that stuff was on the paperwork, but it turns out that he didn't contact this woman at all. In fact, the guy actually was a web designer himself, so why would he ask somebody else to make a website for him? That doesn't make any sense. And also, the dude is not gay. He is married to a woman, and he said, hey, I had nothing to do with this, right? Now, some people are saying, well, maybe this dude's lying. Maybe he actually is, against gay marriage, and he was in cahoots with this woman, whatever. We have no way of knowing that. But why would he lie? It doesn't make any sense. Why wouldn't she actually put an actual gay person if it was true? That it doesn't really make any sense. It basically sounds like, and this is just pure speculation because I'm not allowed to say this, because, but my speculation is, right, that Creative LLC and the Alliance Defending Freedom Foundation made this shit up out of whole cloth on purpose so that their lawsuit can go forward, and the Supreme Court is filled with conservative ideologues who don't give a fuck what the truth is, and so they just went with it. That's what it sounds like to me. So regardless, one way or the other, until this gets revisited, which it probably won't. But until it does, looks like it's a-okay for people to discriminate on religious grounds. But they gave it a very, very narrow definition. They said that, okay, well, you're allowed to discriminate, but only if you're a creative person. So what if you do is creative? So apparently baking a cake or creating a website is considered creative, which the thing is that in the Supreme Court decision, they did not define what creative actually means. So you would say, for example, well, being a loan officer is probably not creative. So, or running a hospital is not creative. Being a doctor is not creative. So you're not allowed to discriminate in that regard. So if you, say, for example, are giving out home loans, something like that, if you're a doctor, if you're a police officer, if you're a firefighter, that kind of thing, then you're not allowed to discriminate. But if you're a creative person, like let's say you're an artist or a baker creating a birthday cake or something like that, or a wedding cake, or in this case a web designer, which is bullshit because web designers, it's not really a creative thing, not really, right? Then I guess you're protected. I guess you get to discriminate against people if you just don't like them, and then you can just claim it's your religion. The reason why I say web design is not really creative, it's because it's not really. The creative part comes in the UI UX design, like creating an actual website, setting up the pages and all that shit, and putting in all the stuff in the background and code and all that. That's not creative at all. That's just like basic programming shit. If you're designing the UI, the UX, that kind of thing, if you're supplying images, shit like that, I guess you could say that's creative. I think it sounds like bullshit to me, but what do you know, what can I say? I'm not part of the Supreme Court. So, whatever, right? But here's the thing, so they didn't define that. I mean, that's what it sounds like logically, that's what it should be, but that wasn't defined in the court case, in the Supreme Court case. I suspect that you're going to see lots of different occupations suddenly be described as creative occupations. You're not just a guy making a sandwich, you're a sandwich artist. Hey, my food that I cook here, I'm not just a fry cook making burgers and fries. This is an art form. I'm a creative food dispenser person or some shit like that. You're going to come up with some kind of dumbass title on their resume, and that way they can kick people out of their restaurant if they have blue hair or something. That's what's going to happen. Oh, I'm not a car wash, I'm a creative auto detailer. Right? That way you could kick people out of your car wash. I guarantee you, just watch what happens. We're going to see, I guarantee you, we will see court cases arguing over the definition of what a creative license is. So people can specifically be bigots and discriminate against gay people, against LGBTQ people, right? And if you think it's going to end there, I got news for you. It isn't. It is going very much expand into race. People will be having these arguments over race. I guarantee it. They're going to have it over interracial marriages. You don't think so? You don't think so? Just watch. Just watch. I guarantee you it's going to happen. I guarantee you sometime within the next couple years we're going to see news stories and court cases about interracial couples getting kicked out of restaurants, black people getting kicked out of restaurants, stuff like that. And this court case is going to be cited as the reason why, and they'll get away with it. And here's the thing, folks, it's not like it was back in the 80s and 90s where if somebody got caught being racist, they got shamed and they got knocked out of business. Even up until 10 years ago, I would say, we were socially prepared for that. Not anymore. Now, if you're a big raging homophobe, if you're an anti-trans person, whatever, now you just go set up a GoFundMe or whatnot, and thousands of bigots from around the country just donate money to you, and then you make out like a fucking bandit, and then you get to go on Joe Rogan and all this other shit and Charlie Kirk's show, and fucking you get to go on fucking Fox News and all this other crap and make the fucking talk show circuit and all this other shit. And you become a goddamn celebrity, just like Kyle Rittenhouse, after he murdered 2 fucking people. Right? Oh, excuse me, it wasn't actually murder. After he shot a guy that threw a bottle at him and then another guy who was trying to like prevent him from killing other people, till he shot those people in self-defense, because it was obviously self-defense. He made out like a bandit with that shit. Got hundreds of thousands of dollars, and people happy that he went out and killed a couple of blue-haired liberals. They were happy about that. That's the thing. This is what the right wing wants, and they'll put their money where their mouth is, and they'll support people. So it's like, this is what's gonna fucking happen, folks, right? And here's the thing, like, if you read what this lady said, oh, I support the L and the B and the G, but I don't support the other. She goes on to say, like, they go, well, what's in the other? And she goes on to say, well, in the other is MAPS. Well, what does MAPS stand for? It's minor attracted persons, basically pedophiles, right? And that's a thing that went around the internet a little while ago, minor attracted persons, and people, maybe about 5 years ago, that was a thing that was on the internet, where these basically fucking pedophiles and incels and shit going around saying, I'm just attracted to minors, but I don't actually do anything to it, and they got shamed out of whatever, and those people disappeared, right? Funny how stuff like that tends to resurface, huh? Well, in real life, that's the other part, besides the L and the B and the G, is not anything to do with that whatsoever. This is the stereotype. It's a stereotype now that, if you're a trans person, if you're anything other than gay, lesbian, or bisexual, then you're some kind of crazy pedophile. And, here's the thing, folks. They also believe that the gay and the lesbian and the bisexual, they believe that those people are pedophiles too. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. If you think it's going to stop with the trans people and the intersex people or whatever, if you think it's going to stop with them, it won't. Okay? She's friendly towards gay people and lesbians and bi people now. Give it another 5 years, no. No, they won't. That's what happens with bigotry. When you normalize bigotry and hate, the window just keeps getting pushed farther and farther to the right. And then pretty soon everybody who's not a hardcore conservative Christian, insane person is going to get burned at the goddamn stake. Where did all of this... here's the thing, folks. You know who is attracted to minors? Right-wingers. Right? Right-wingers and the same people who are complaining and yelling and screaming and spreading all of this anti-trans shit are the same people who are trying to legalize marriage to minors in Kentucky and Louisiana and shit like that, and Mississippi, where they're trying to pass laws saying that to make it legal to marry someone who's 12 years old or whatever. Here's a guy I want to show you guys. This is our favorite incel Nazi, Nick Fuentes. Let's turn on our laptop here. Here goes Nick Fuentes. Let's make this a little bigger, and then let's reduce the size of this, because this man is a little tiny man, and he does not deserve to have a full screen when he blabs his incel bullshit. Nick Fuentes is, of course, the leader of America First. He's got his own fucking little political organization where he basically scams people out of money. Right. And let's hear him describe what his perfect wife would be.
No, bitch. I want to drink it straight from the tap. I want it raw. I don't want to wait a moment. Right when the milk is good, I want to start drinking the milk. Same thing goes with women. I don't want to turn 30 and find some 20-year-old, 29-year-old woman that I have something in common with, and it's like, hey, properly aged, like wine. Women don't age like wine, they age like milk. They don't age like wine. That's not how their hormones work. That's not how they work. Yeah, I gotta find my 16-year-old wife.
16-year-old wife. Remember, folks, Nick Fuentes is, first off, a self-proclaimed incel. I.e., he's a 26-year-old, I think he's 26 right now, 26-year-old virgin. There's nothing wrong with being a virgin at 26, if that's your thing. But you kind of hear how this guy's speaking, what he's talking about, what he wants. He wants a woman 10 years younger than him who is a minor. He said it himself. Nobody put words in this guy's mouth. This is not a deep fake. This is what he said. Let's listen to what the man has to say. There's about a minute left into this. Let's listen to what the man has to say. Maybe he's got some further explanation.
Probably when I turn 30 or something. Because here's the thing. I don't want to be like, let's say I get married to the 18-year-old now. 6-year age difference. When I turn 40, she's going to be 34. Ew. What if I'm 30 and she's 16? 14-year age difference. When I'm 50, she'll be 36. When I'm 40, she'll be 26. Then now we're talking here. Now we're cooking with gas. Now you can see an alternative vision for how things could be.
See, let's keep this in mind, folks. Right. This kind of misogyny, like I said in my previous videos, it goes hand in hand with racism. There's no coincidence that Nick Fuentes is a raging racist fucking Nazi. This guy's a Nazi. Like, bona fide, dyed-in-the-wool Nazi. Like, praising Adolf Hitler and shit like that. It really is no coincidence that he's also a virgin at his age. It's really no coincidence that he has these ideas about women. It goes hand in hand. The misogyny goes hand in hand with racism, because they're both products of a small mind. I mean, you don't really see usually people who are cool with, equal women's rights and stuff like that, and then racist. Or that people who are like totally huge flaming racists but are like feminists. Like, you don't usually see that. It's usually it's a big package deal. It all kind of comes together because it all grows out of the same type of bigotry. The idea that, certain people are in charge and are just inherently superior. And in this case, it's white men for Nick Fuentes. White men are the superior race. They're the superior people. And that superiority does not extend to white women. Women to people like Nick Fuentes are just sort of broodmares that exist to bear children and to be arm candy and just to be objects for him to ejaculate into. Right? I like that so much that I said it last stream and I said it again today. I know I did. I don't care. Right? Because it's true. It's true. This is what the guy. I mean, and you heard it himself. He wants to be 40 years old with a woman that is 14 years younger than him, because 34 is too old, which really does kind of illustrate that the guy has zero experience, not just talking to women, but associating with female, like women, or just people in general. Like, has he never met someone who is married? Has he never talked to a woman who was older than 16 years old? Like, I mean, seriously, man, what the fuck? Like, it really is alien to anybody who's well-adjusted to realize that there are people out here that have these problems. Like, kind of ridiculous. Let's listen a little bit more. There's about 20 seconds left.
I want a 16-year-old that's untouched, pristine, untouched, uncorrupted, innocent. That's what we all want.
Innocent.
And all 16-year-olds want an older guy who's like capable and strong and everything to sweep them off their feet. That's what everybody wants.
First thing I want to bring up here. You notice how he said he wants someone pure and untouched. What does that mean? He wants a virgin, right? Why? That's one thing that all of these guys say. You can find in all of them. They all want someone, I'm pure, untouched virgin. I'm the only guy she's ever had sex with, etc., etc., etc. Why? What's the big fucking deal about that? It comes from insecurity. They don't want a woman who's actually had sex before with other people, because then she's got experience. Then because they will have to compare themselves to her previous boyfriends. And they know they can't measure up because they have zero confidence in themselves. And that is one thing that all incels, all incels have that problem. Lack of confidence. That's the entire thing. If you ever go on these incel forums or the sneaky sort of underground incel places on Reddit or whatever where they talk about this shit, that's the one thing that they all share. They all share this lack of confidence. Oh, I'm too short. Oh, my jawline isn't big enough. Oh, I'm of the wrong race, whatever. Oh, my dick isn't big enough, whatever. I don't make enough money. I'll never get the women I like, so fuck it. That's really what it's zero confidence. Guys who have just, they don't know, they're socially awkward, they don't know how to talk to women, and they don't understand that it's, all of that shit is like secondary. It doesn't really fucking matter, right? Not when you're trying to build relationships. When you want a relationship, what you should do is get friends. That's how you get relationships, guys. Okay? There is no magic bullet. And these dudes waste their time going around to all this shit thinking that they're going to, all this red pill shit and listening to Andrew Tate and going to fucking pickup artists and all this stupid shit that doesn't fucking do anything except take your money and make you look like a fool. They waste their time with all of this crap because they never learned sufficient social skills. If you want to meet women, then you need to just meet friends. This is how you meet women, guys. This is how you do it. You meet friends, and then you meet their friends, and then there'll be a group of women, and then you meet them, and you socialize with them, and then you hit it off with somebody, and then nature takes over from there. That's how it fucking works. Sometimes you can meet people on a dating website, whatever. I met my wife on a dating website. I don't care. I'll fucking admit it. I'm glad for it. I met my wife on OkCupid. I mean, fuck it. That's what this shit's there for, It worked like a charm for me, right? So it's not, but that's the thing. These guys, they have this shit built up in their heads because all of these scam artists and they have taken advantage of them and implanted these ridiculous fucking notions about race and gender and superiority and all this toxic fucking shit, toxic masculinity shit. And they think, being a real man, you got to be like Andrew Tate. You have to be super big and muscles and all this other crap, and you got to have $17 billion, and then you get all the real men, because they think it's like being the ideal man is like being a dude in a rap music video. It's absolutely fucking embarrassing. And in the meantime, everybody else fucking suffers. Because of their stupid fucking shit, because they never get it, and that's why these morons go on and periodically engage in fucking massacres, because this bullshit doesn't work. That's why, right? Seriously, I just want to, and I know we're kind of veering off subject from, we will get back to the trans hate in a minute. I want to show you guys something else. Let's get rid of this. Just to kind of drag this point home, let's make this bigger. Here's something else I wanted to show you guys here. This is the dream woman. Incel wants his dream woman to call him master. Let's listen to what this... Now, this is just some rando I found on Reddit. But just to kind of knock home how this all ties together. How the misogyny and the racism and the hatred ties together. And the result of it is violence against women, against trans people, trans women in particular. Let's listen to what this guy has to say.
So you don't have to worry about that part. All right, so next up, it's a big one. Next up, a woman must be willing and ready to give me sex anytime I want it. That's right, any time of the day. Obviously not in public. Well, hell, if we're in a situation, maybe in public. But if you want to do some kinky shit, but no, man, a woman must be willing to give it to me at any time, at any point during the day.
I mean, is it any wonder why this guy's single? Why this guy's an incel? Why he's not getting any? Women must be able to give it to me anytime I ask for it. At any point, it could be the middle of the day. We could be out at McDonald's eating chicken McNuggets, and it's like, bitch, bend over. Do you really think? I mean, is it any surprise why this guy can't find a girlfriend? Why would somebody think this? You know what this sounds like? This is shit when you're like 17 years old and you're in high school, and you've never, like, kissed a girl before or whatever, 16, 17, and you think what relationships are like. Because your only experience with relationships is, like, shit your big brother told you, and then also, like, porn. And you think that's how it is. Like, that's the kind of thing that you think of at that, and the thing is, you're supposed to grow out of that shit. You're supposed to grow up and get experience and realize, oh, hey, women are actual people. They're not just, they're not just objects for me to possess, for me to stick my dick into whenever. They don't exist just to obey my fucking sexual wills or whatever, to fulfill my sexual desires. They're actual people with wants and desires of their own. And if I want to get one to actually love me, I better have something to offer her and not be a fucking dickhead all the time. Like, you're supposed to learn this as you grow up and you have experience and you realize, well, why girls keep fucking dumping me? Maybe I'm an asshole. You're supposed to have, when you're a kid, you're supposed to have, your awkward relationships with women, and then, your girlfriend dumps you for one reason, you don't know why, and all that stuff. And you're supposed to think about it and realize, maybe I was being a dick. Maybe that's why she dumped me. Right? Maybe I was being a raging asshole, and that's why this woman that I thought everything was cool, maybe that's why she dumped me. The stuff like that. You're supposed to figure that out. You're supposed to grow and learn shit. And it's pretty fucking obvious this guy never fucking learned that. Let's continue.
Particularly when we're by ourselves, I don't want to hear. I don't want you to give me no attitude or none of that shit. Or, oh, I don't feel like it. I don't want to hear none of that shit. You must be willing to give it up to me at any point of the day. Because I've actually had relationships where I've had females tell me that they will give me sex anytime I wanted it. You don't believe me? I got the fucking messages. So
yeah, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Now, not that no woman would ever do that. I mean, if that's what she's into, yeah, maybe. But for this guy, no. I do not believe that this dude has ever managed to convince a woman to go through the hell that it must be to have sex with this dude. I don't think so. I think this guy is probably still a virgin to this day, especially if this is still his attitude. I don't know. Maybe he's cleaned himself up by then and is no longer a fucking incel, but somehow I doubt it. A little bit more. Let's continue.
So that's something that I expect. I fully expect you to be ready to give it up at any time. We're in a relationship, so yeah. If we're in a relationship and it's romantic, consensual, I expect you to be ready to give it to me at any time.
If we're in a relationship, I expect you. See that? You see see what the possessiveness, the idea that, okay, the woman's body is not her own. She exists solely to pleasure me. She belongs to me. She's just an object for me to possess. Where do you think this guy learned that from? I mean, it kind of sounds like the same shit that Andrew Tate says, right? Sounds like the same shit that Nick Fuentes is saying. Sounds like the same shit that any given number of conservative influencers say. Even people like Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, all these trad wife women on TikTok and shit. The traditional Christian trad wife people, like Ben Shapiro's sister, Abby Shapiro. She says shit like this. You must be sexually available to your man at any time. Stuff like that. It's not rape if you're married, etc. See how damaging this shit is? This is why we need to speak out against these things. Right? If there's not a counter narrative, then this stuff infects people's minds. There has to be. It's up to us. It's up to us, really. You and me out there, me making videos, you out there watching my videos, spreading this video and other videos like it around, talking to your friends, maybe making videos of your own, right? This is what we should be doing. We need to have a counter narrative. So when the kids grow up, they have somebody else besides assholes like this to pay attention to. And maybe they might learn the right fucking way. Right. Continuing.
And finally, and this we're alone, at home, and in private, you must call me Master at all times. Like when you come in the door, like say for example, if you're coming in from the store or coming in from work, and you see me and I'm doing whatever, You greet me. When you greet me, I expect you to say, hello, master, or something like that. Or when you wake up in the morning, when you wake me up or whatever have you, or I wake you up or whatever, I expect you to greet me by saying, good morning, master, or good evening, master, or, any kind of stuff like that. Because that would be fucking amazing.
Yeah, this guy's never gotten laid in his life. He never will. That's some shit out of anime right there. Like he's in a fucking maid cafe or something. Master, get the fuck out of here. Isn't any wonder why people like this go off on fucking murder sprees? Isn't any fucking wonder? Isn't any wonder that people like, this Michigan hair salon lady feels like she now's the time to come out with her bigotry when you got guys like this running around. It's like she knows she's going to get support. She knows that people like this are going to see her when her fucking salon collapses, goes out of business in 2 weeks. She knows that people like this are going to go on her fucking Patreon account and like support her. Right? This is her fucking fan. It's sad, folks. It's absolutely sad.
That would be so great. Just a little kink that I have. Little kind of...
Yeah, whatever. Shut up, asshole. Okay, here's another one I wanted to show you guys. This is the... Let's go ahead and turn this shit off. Get rid of those. Lookstheory.org, which is a incel forum. This is describe the ideal girlfriend. Age, 15. Let's zoom in a little bit on this so you can read it. Age, 15, preferably virgin. Height, 5'2". She's got to be shorter than you. And since all these guys are little fucking manlets or whatever, they're all little fucking tiny, teeny-weeny men, she has to be even shorter. Weight, 100 pounds. You notice how fat that other guy was. It's like, oh, no, my girlfriend has to be super skinny and in shape and extremely attractive. I can be fat all I want. I can sit around eating fucking triple Big Macs and gravy fries till my fucking heart explodes, but she better be in shape, no. Race, Jewish. You could gas her if she got too annoying. Yep, folks. A little bit of anti-Semitism thrown in the mix, huh? Personality. A cutesy girl. That would be loyal to me with a rape fetish. Maybe she could be an abusive femitard so I can have fun breaking her spirit. I guess this guy has a type. You can see the type that he's attracted to. Right. Here's another dude down here. King of PSLT. Whatever that means. I think that means PSL pickup something or other. I think that's a pickup artist thing. Under 25, 16 and above. Medium-sized breast firm Japanese 80s girl otaku. You notice how their age requirements are extremely young? This guy wants a 15-year-old girl. Nick Fuentes wants a 16-year-old girl. This guy above up here wants a 15-year-old girl. Who are the real fucking minor attracted persons here? Who are the real maps? Who are the real fucking pedophiles, right? Because I can guarantee you, any online space you go to out there, you will never find any LGBTQ people ever supporting pedophilia, ever. Not like this. Not like this. And then here you have the entire culture, the driving force behind anti-trans bigotry. It's these assholes. Right? The driving force behind anti-trans bigotry, openly just celebrating that they all want to bang little minors. They all want to get with like 16-year-old girls. Maybe I'm not supposed to understand. Right? Okay, we already saw this guy. And I want to bring up one thing before we continue on. Where did all of this shit come from? Well, here's another thing. Have you guys ever heard of this webcomic? It's called Sinfest. This is by a very sort of notorious anti-trans cartoonist, which admittedly the artwork is actually pretty good. I'm not going to lie, the artwork is good. The message is fucking atrocious. Let's read through a couple of these. We got a trans woman taking her pills, sees a woman here with a baby, a cisgendered woman, Heteronormative. That's what I meant to say. Jealous. So a trans woman goes to the baby store and adopts a kid and then decides to breastfeed. Next. That's sick. I am a mother performing her motherly duties. You are a sick man with a sick fetish abusing a baby. That's violence. You just did a violence on me. I'm sure you see where this is going. Let's continue on to the next one. I'm reporting you. Ha ha ha. You have no power here. This is Tran country. I'm assuming they meant to put trans country, but whatever. You won't get away with this, pedophile. Watch me. And then this, of course, is Joe Biden, and this is that woman, that trans woman from the Joint Chiefs of Staffs, whatever her name is. I can't remember her name. You see the message here? You see how this is getting out, like how these people are spreading this shit around, right? Now, what exactly is going on? Because if you just watch the actions of what's happening in this comic, it's not pedophilia. I don't know if you guys knew this, but if you take hormones and you're a trans woman and you take hormones and your breasts develop, you can actually produce milk. That is true. Because your breasts develop, the glands develop and all that shit, and they produce milk. That's 100% true. So there is such thing as a trans woman breastfeeding, just like a cis woman breastfeeding a baby. Absolutely 100% a normal thing that has been a thing for decades. It is not pedophilia at all. Breastfeeding is not pedophilia. I don't know, and I understand, I know why people, they're confusing this, because it's a vaguely sexual thing when you're an adult and you suck on a woman's breast. But a baby, there's no sexual feeling there. But you see the stereotype here. It's like, just straight out says it, pedophile. It's like, this is what they're trying to normalize. They're trying to normalize it. There's shit like this. You know where I saw this comic? On Reddit. Posted like 500 times. Not every time somebody posted it were they against it. Remember, we all live in bubbles. All of us. Let's turn this off for now. Something that you got to remember, folks. I live in a bubble, you live in a bubble. We all live in bubbles. We don't always see everything that happens everywhere on the internet. When something gets to you, it may be filtered through, it may come to you a few days or even weeks later after it's been around, and it may be filtered through several different layers. Somebody posted it on this website, on that website, whatever. Right? So, if I'm seeing it after however long that was there, how many times was it shared around other places, other sort of anti-trans, anti-LGBTQ places like, say, Nick Fuentes' personal forums or whatever, something like that, 4chan or 8chan or whatever, or places like Kiwi Farms, that kind of thing. And how many kids saw it? I don't know if you got... that's the other thing, is that these places are notorious for sort of recruiting children. Right? Where do you think all these, why do we have so many fucking, alt-right shit, kids nowadays? Right? Who are, posting this shit. Where do you think they learned about all this stuff? On the fucking internet. They learned it on the internet, through social media, through places like 4chan and stuff like that. 9gag, Reddit, that kind of thing. This is why it's important. This is why it's important to talk out against this kind of thing. Because kids see this shit. Kids see this shit and they don't know, because when you're a child, or a teenager or whatever, you don't know any better. And it's funny. It's all a joke. Until it's not a joke anymore. They see comics like that, and they go, oh, it's a joke, it's funny, ha ha ha, look at this. pedophile, blah, blah, blah. Then one day it's not a joke. Then one day they're running through their school with a fucking AR-15, shooting all the girls who wouldn't go out with them, and, you know, blowing away the girl that turned them down to go to prom, or whatever, shit like that. And then shooting all the other, like, you know, shooting this guy because he stole a girl that he actually liked and whatever, and then blowing themselves away afterwards. It leads to actual violence. That's the thing about this, is that bigotry leads to violence. Case in point here, something else that just happened very recently. Let's turn back on our laptop here. 24-year-old suspect charged with stabbing 3 people during gender studies class at Canada's University of Waterloo in hate-motivated attack, police say. If you heard about this, University of Waterloo, long story short, this one guy, in fact, I got a picture of him. This is what the guy looked like. This is a hate-motivated attack in the University of Waterloo. We're not going to read this entire thing. But basically, this kid, his name is... What the fuck is his name? Giovanni Via Alba Ailman, 24. Recent graduate of the University of Waterloo, came from a very conservative Ecuadorian family. Went to the gender studies class there, asked the professor if it was a gender studies class. The professor said yes. Pulls out a knife, stabs the professor and 2 other people. Luckily, the guy didn't have a gun because nobody died. Everybody got away. This one had a happy ending. Very surprised because, you know, Canada, it's not like it's impossible to get guns in Canada. But rest assured, folks, if this were to happen in the United States anywhere, it would have been a shooting instead, and 20 people would have been killed, instead of just 3 people being injured. Take a look at this guy. Do you think this guy's ever had a girlfriend? Just take a look at him. Do you think he's ever had a girlfriend? I would say no. And it's not just the nerdy glasses and the buzz cut and the fucking Chris Chan shirt. It's not just that stuff. Because here's the thing that you don't, here's another thing that's surprising to people. It's not how you look that determines how much play you get from the opposite sex, right? You could look like this dude and have very many healthy relationships. I know this because I'm a living example. You all know what I look like, folks. I am not the most attractive man, but I've had a nice smattering of healthy relationships throughout my adult life, starting at age 17 and all the way up until I got married, and now I'm happily married, and I have been married for about 8 years now, and everything's cool. And it's like, at one point when I was 16, I mean, I guess you could have called me, classified me as an incel, right? I guess. I mean, that's the thing, is that when I was a kid, when I was 16 years old, way, fucking 30 years ago or whatever, I thought all the same shit that these guys think. Because I was a kid. I grew out of it. I got experience. I met people. I learned that women are actually people and not objects. And they don't exist solely to pleasure me. Right? That they don't exist solely for me to stick my penis into them whenever I felt like it. And the other thing you learn after you get dumped a couple times, the other thing you learn is that you don't get to dictate what other people think and feel, especially women. Right? So, like that other guy we watched, you'll call me master, you'll give me sex, whatever I want, you'll do whatever I say. You don't get to say shit like that. It's like, no. If that's how you act, you ain't getting none. Right? If you really think about it, what do all these guys want? Let's turn this off for now. What is the same shit that all these guys are looking for? They're looking for their mothers. That's what they want. That's what, you want someone that cooks and cleans for you and does nice things for you and all this other shit. That's your mom. That's your mother. When you're a teenager, that's what your mother does. Or when you're a child, actually, I don't know about you, but when I was a teenager, that was it. I had to take care of myself, right? I mean, my mom would cook occasionally, but still, I had to do my own laundry, clean my own room, shit like that. She stopped cleaning, that kind of thing. Yeah, take care of yourself. You're big enough, fucking clean up your own shit. Cook your own goddamn meals, right? That's what she told me. So, do your own fucking laundry, right? Vacuum your own goddamn floor. Like, that's, But still, that's what these guys want. They want their mothers, and with the addition of sex. And it's like, it's the most immature shit ever. They're victims. I really, in some sense, I don't want to call them victims, but in some sense, they've been hoodwinked. They are victims in that sense. They've been hoodwinked by a culture that values looks and and toxic masculine ideals over respect for other people, right? They've been hoodwinked by this shit. They think, they see characters like Andrew Tate and all these other fucking, and who's that other guy, the Liver King, that fucking dude who like eats raw bull testicles and stuff. And they think shit like that's real. They think these guys are real. They think they're just, these dudes are living it up. This is what a real man is. Real man is huge and giant and buff and has 17 bitches and all this other stuff. And is also, if you also notice, those guys are also giant fucking assholes. Like, that's Andrew Tate's entire thing, is that he's like a huge fucking asshole. He's rich and all this other shit, and he's a giant fucking douchebag at the same time. And it's like, the idea is you're supposed to be jealous. You're supposed to get jealous so that you want it too, so that way you give him your money. Buying his stupid fucking book or his courses or whatever, subscribing to his dumbass channel, something like that. It's all a scam, folks. Where did all this stuff come from? It all came from troll culture. It all came from 4chan. The pedophile thing was a joke back in the day. Everybody calling each other pedophiles and stuff. It was a joke. In fact, I've got a little video here. This is from 14 years ago. Let's turn this on. And let's make this a little bit smaller so I don't get my channel gigged. Here's a little song from it's a channel called Over 9,000 Penises from 14 years ago. And this is a little song here.
So, I want you to know they're working on it. And they have systematic ways of hurting children. He doesn't forgive. He does not forget. This group has over 9,000 penises. And they're all raping children.
What? 9,000?
9,000 penises.
What?
Still don't understand? Let me read you something that was posted on our message boards from someone who claims to be a pedophile.
What does the scouter say about his power level?
9,000.
What?
Still don't understand?
What does the scouter say about his power level? It's over 9,000!
So, I want you to know they use the internet.
What?
So, I want you to know
It's over 9,000!
9,000 penises.
What?
Still don't understand? 9,000 penises.
What?
They use the internet. Let me read you something that was posted on our message board. Let me read you something from someone who claims to be a pedophile.
I now have
9,000
starred rings at the base of my penis.
What?
use the internet.
So, this little guy here, if you remember, is a character called Pedo Bear. I'm sure all of you guys out there can think back to 14, 15 years ago, and you remember all the Pedo Bear memes. Some of you young kids may be encountering the Pedo Bear for the first time, but he gives you free candy and drives a white van. Why am I showing you Pedo Bear videos? Just to understand, just so that you can understand where all this stuff came from. Where did this all come from, right? It was a joke. It was a long-running joke. The pedophilia thing was a joke on 4chan and all that. Everybody calling each other pedos. Blah, 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 right? That's where it was edgy humor. 14 years ago, right? What is that? 2011? Actually, no. 14 years ago is 2009, right? Yeah, that's what it is. Didn't take long for it not to be a joke anymore. Oh, it's very funny until it's not funny anymore. Now people believe it, right? What started off as a joke on places like 4chan, right? Because that's where Pedal Bear came from. Pedal Bear came from 4chan. Some guy that's where it started. That sort of made its way into conspiracy theories. You know, it was a joke. You know, this particular song came from someone on 4chan trolling the Oprah Winfrey show, and she actually said that live on the air. You know, she goes, "Yeah, we're over 9,000 penises." Like, she actually said that on the air. That's where somebody made it into this little song here. A couple years later, people started accusing other, like, sort of celebrities and shit of being pedophiles. You know, it kind of turns into a conspiracy theory, turns into Pizzagate. Sort of evolved its way into that. You all know what Pizzagate is. Pizzagate is essentially a remaking of the 80s Satanic Panic. Just sort of dressed up in a modern, with a modern glaze over it. And now there's people that think that shit's real. Now there's people that think that, we can turn this off here, that celebrities are going out and kidnapping children and drinking their adrenochrome, cracking over their brains and drinking their adrenochrome and enslaving them and all this other stuff. And it's sort of become, it's not even a conspiracy anymore. Now it's mainstream. Now they're blaming, the trans people are the pedophiles now. It's like 5 years ago, it wasn't the trans people. It wasn't the gay people. They weren't the pedophiles. It was Jeffrey Epstein and celebrities, Tom Hanks and Hillary Clinton and stuff. Those were the secret pedophile rings that were going around the country, with QAnon and all that shit. QAnon's essentially gone. It's still, it's still there. There's people that still grift and still believe it, but it's gone from the mainstream. Everybody knows that QAnon is bullshit now. Everybody knows that Pizzagate is bullshit now. You don't see serious people. There's still fringe groups on the internet, still grifters on places like TikTok and all that are raking in the dough from these conspiracy theories. But the mainstream conservatives have moved on. But the accusations of pedophilia are still there. They've just moved to gay and trans people. That's the other thing you gotta remember, folks. Conspiracy theories never die. They never go away. They just get rebranded into something else. That's where we're currently at now. It's evolved now to the greater democratic left is now under some kind of, conspiracy thing perpetrated by the Jewish cabal. The cabal, right? They'll say just the cabal, but that's what they actually mean. It's an anti-Semitism in there too. Can't forget the anti-Semitism. The Jewish cabal of secret reptile overlords or whatever are pushing a trans agenda on us and abusing children in order to destroy the straight white American family, to undermine the United States. And I guess, destroy Christianity or some shit. That's where we're currently at in the conspiracy. That's where all of this shit comes from. It's something that it gets reinvented every 5 to 10 years. I have a magazine from 1997 called Dagobert's Revenge that talks about the elites kidnapping people and drinking adrenochrome. I'm not even kidding. That's how old this shit is. That's 30 years ago, almost, at this point. I bet you if you looked hard enough, you could probably find books or magazines or pamphlets or whatever even earlier than that, talking about the exact same shit. Right? This is why it's all, but the thing is that it's wacky. It sounds wacky, it sounds ridiculous, so they have to cloak it under the guise of protecting children. That's why they always talk about protecting children. That's why that comic we saw was framed as in, you're a pedophile. That's where all the pedophile shit, this is why they always make that accusation. Right? Because this is why they make that accusation. First reason is that if you try to deny it, then they can say that you're a pedophile too. So if you go, this is bullshit, then they turn to you and they go, oh, are you supporting pedophiles? Right? So it makes it hard for like normal people who are not prepared to fight against it. If you just say, this sounds like bullshit, then they go, what, are you supporting pedophiles? What's wrong with you? So that means, so most people will just not touch this shit with a 10-foot pole. They'll just be like, all right, fuck it, forget it. I don't even want that, I don't even want that problem. I don't want to deal with that, so they'll just leave it alone. So that's the first reason why they always take it from this angle. And then the second thing is because being trans, being gay, right, especially being trans, right, this is freedom. That's what freedom means. You have the freedom to express yourself in this country. Because, like I've said before, LGBTQ issues are freedom of speech issues. Because the way that you express your sexuality, that your gender expression, that's a First Amendment issue. Regardless of whether you think it's, some people, whether you think it's like, some people think it could be a choice that you could turn on and off, whatever. None of that matters. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that in this country you have the freedom to choose how you express yourself. No one is allowed, the government is not allowed to tell you how you are and are not allowed to express yourself. And if they just framed it like that, it makes it sound like they're against free speech, because that's what it is. So they can't frame it like that. They can't frame it like a freedom issue. They have to frame it in such a way that it disarms people. And the way they've chosen to do it is by trying to frame it as, well, we're just trying to protect the children. See, I'm not really bigoted. I don't really have a problem with any of these people. I support the L and the B and the G. I don't support the rest. Because I want to protect the children. See how that shit works, folks? You gotta stand up against this stuff. It's not going to just go away. You got to stand up against it, and that means doing everything you can. That means voting. That means supporting politicians that will pass laws to protect people. It's not going to, it's not going to help if you go out and you protest and you wave signs around and you do all this other sort of stuff with, non-governmental kind of organizations and things like that, and you help people in need and all that crap, and then some fucking conservative reactionary piece of shit gets elected, passes a law, and undoes everything. All of your hard work gone. It's not going to help if that happens. So no, you need to vote. You need to vote. And I know a lot of people on the left don't like that reality, but that is the reality. The reality is that you need to vote. There needs to be a political aim to your activism. In addition to the other stuff that you do. In addition to the direct actions that you do. In addition to changing the culture. That was the thing that I got in an argument with a guy on Reddit recently about that. He said, oh, we just need to change the culture. It was the thing that I was arguing about was guns. And I was like, well, what's some solutions you can do to prevent shootings? And he says, we need to change the culture. And I'm like, well, yeah, great. In the meantime, while you're changing the culture, there's like 16 mass shootings a day going on. Like, give me some real fucking solutions, please. Don't give me this change the culture shit. Right? I'm tired of waiting around. I want solutions. No, this is what you have to... So that's why it's important to have a political tool in the box when it comes to these things. Get out there, vote. Support people that will pass laws that will solidify protections for things like this. In addition to the other things that you do. If you don't have You know, you can donate your money. If you don't have money, donate your time. If you can't donate your time, get out there, spread the word. Because this is what happens. This is what happens. You know, if you think that your society can't regress, you're wrong. Societies regress all the time, and that's what's happening right now. In the United States, right now. Society is regressing. You think this won't turn into a fucking theocracy? I got news for you folks. It's already happening. It's already happening. You got to get out there and you got to do something about it. Anyway, that's all I got, folks. I will talk to you all later. Thank you for sticking around to the end. If you like what I do, please consider buying something at my SD shop. And in fact, you know what? I'm going to show it because I never do this anymore. So I'm going to actually show you my SD shop and all that stuff. Hey, I got some orders. All right, that's cool. Let me just go down to my SD shop here. Let's go over here. Let's turn on my thing. Here is my SD shop. If you like what I do, please consider buying something. I sell prints. I sell comics. Here's a print I do. These are large Lovecraft sort of coffee-stained prints. I sell these. I sell digital editions of comics. I sell little things like this. In fact, I already sold this. I got to take this off of here. This is a sort of my little flesh pumpkin thing. I got to remove that. I sell sculptures. My wife made this little Cthulhu sort of plushy thing. Please, if you like what I do, please consider going to my Etsy shop, dropping a few bucks. I also have a Patreon and some other crap, webcomic, and some other things. You can find all my links down in the description below. Thank you all so much for sticking around, and I'll be back on Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Stay safe, everybody. Adios. Hello, folks. If you like what I do and you want to support the channel, please consider buying something from my Etsy shop, supporting me on Patreon, liking and subscribing, and checking me out across my social media links listed below. Thank you all so much, and see you next time.